Good morning, Eagles Nation. It's your boy BirdGang 31. Eagles fan, we might be watching the start of an Eagles civil war between fans. Nick Sirianni said DeVonta Smith can reach the next level in this offense. But if Smitty's number one, what does that mean for AJ? Is this the evolution of the new Eagles offense or the beginning of a massive decision that Howie Roseman has to make? Let's talk about it. But first, let's listen to what Nick had to say about DeVonta Smith. This is what Nick had to say about DeVonta.
I think he continually gets better. I think you saw him have a great year this year. And, you know, even when a guy prepares not to have as good a year, like, you're always looking at it like, is this arrow on the rise? Is this arrow on the fall? Like, and even if a guy doesn't have his best year, he still can be on the rise. Well, I think we saw DeVonta have a great year, and I think we just continue to see him play better and better. And I think that's a tribute to who he is. Guys that are tough, that love football, that are smart football players, have a tendency to reach their ceiling, and God willing. And I think that's what you're seeing. You're seeing him continue to get better. You're seeing him continue to do these things and make plays only that he can make on the football field. And so I just think you continue to see him on the rise, and excited about, you know, what he'll look like in this new offense
How about our quarterback? How about our quarterback? I'm your quarterback. He's a stud. He is a stud. I knew he was going to play that way. I knew it. Don't doubt him. All he does
I'm
is win.
BirdGang 31 and I'm fly like an eagle. Hit him low, hit him high like the Eagles. Catch me on a podcast and we only talking Eagles. Dallas still sucks and ain't nothing like the Eagles. I'm one O-line, Jalen Hurts top 5. Run it like Saquon, like I'm down Queen. Always open AJ, touchdown, say. Strap him up like DeJohn, sack him up, Zach Bond. On the road to victory, yeah. We gon' watch our Eagles fly. Hit him low, hit him high. Hit him low, hit him low, hit him high. We gon' hit him low, we gon' hit him high. We gon' hit him low, we gon' hit him high. We gon' hit him low, we gon' hit him high. We gon' BirdGang 31 is a host, man. Bringing Eagles to your door like the postman. Make some noise if you a real Birds fan. Make some noise if you a real Hurts fan. Yeah.
What is up, Eagles Nation? It's your boy BirdGang 31 in the building. How's everybody morning going? And welcome to a new little thing I'm going to start doing. It's going to be called Morning Eagles Talk with BG31, baby. And we're going to get it down in the morning and really break down topics that are a concern for this Philadelphia Eagles team. Whenever you watch me, you know, on my live streams where I'm with people, we're collabing and whatnot, we kind of break down all the topics. So I wanted to get down and like dirty with individual topics at a time. Let's talk about these individual topics and let's really get to the, you know, gist of them. So today we're starting off with the civil war with the Eagles fans between what's going to happen between DeVonta Smith, you know, hit his next level, getting what he deserves, and AJ Brown, you know, going out there and getting traded, you know, something that he wants and something that, you know, we're going to break down if he deserves or not. So hit that like, hit that comment, hit that subscribe. If you are a new member, we're definitely dropping straight Eagles fire all the time here on this channel. He says, good morning. Hope you're having a great day, everyone. Go Birds. And fly, Eagles fly. The drone zone is in the building. So, you know, we're going to break down. I got some cut-ups, you know, we're going to really look at today to really get to, you know, the gist of all this. You know, first off, we're going to say, you know, I'm going to go over why they deserve, you know, each individually deserves to be a #1 receiver and their motives, you know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of people are taking these narratives and spinning it out and thinking it's all about, you know, ego and, you know what I'm saying, this person doesn't like that person and that person doesn't like this person. And oh, you know, Smitty keeps his mouth shut, he deserves it type thing. So we're going to break down everything surrounding this situation with the offense in the Philadelphia Eagles. So let's go with first why they deserve it. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what I figure are the main reasons why. Let's start off with AJ Brown. AJ Brown works hard every offseason and wants to be the best receiver in football. And not just the best receiver in football, he wants to be like OBJ and win the receiving triple crown. You know what I'm saying? He wants to have the most receptions in the season. He wants to have the most touchdowns in the receiver in the season, and he wants to have the most yards in the season. On this Philadelphia Eagles team, scheme aside, that is not a realistic thing for AJ Brown. That can't happen on this football team. You know what I'm saying? We have Saquon, Dallas for now, DeVonta Smith, Jalen Hurts running the football. There's a lot of reasons, a lot of mouths to be fed on this offense that, realistically, you will not be able to get that kind of production in the Philadelphia Eagles run first base offense. We're going to keep it real. Like, that's no disrespect to AJ, and I don't think AJ wants to leave Philadelphia, but we're going to get into the reasons why, he might want to actually get traded. Second is AJ's already won a Super Bowl. AJ's won a Super Bowl. He's been to 3 All-Pros. He's been to Pro Bowls. You know what I'm saying? The man's done it all in terms of, being a good receiver in this league, except for win the Triple Crown. Or even, I don't think he's even had been the leading receiver in terms of either one of those stats, in terms of touchdowns, receiving yards, or receptions, or anything like that. So he wants to be known for the guy that was the best, had the best stats in the league for that season. He deserves it. Like I said, he's already won a Super Bowl, or he doesn't have anything else to prove in that aspect. He's been to All Pros. Okay. He's been to Pro Bowls. Okay. I've done all that, and I'm still not satisfied. I'm not satisfied after winning the ring. I'm not satisfied. I want more. I worked too hard in the offseason to just get that and that be the end all game. You know what I'm saying? And he's just on the quest to become the league's top receiver. He wants to be that guy. He wants to be the Jettis. He wants to be the Jamar Chase. He wants to be the Puka Nakua. He wants to be the JSNs out there in the leading the leagues in receptions and whatnot. So you can't stop the guy from wanting high dreams and setting high expectations for his career with the work that he puts in there. He works tireless to earn this #1 spot. You've seen the videos in the offseason. You've seen him out there freaking grinding, taking young cats under his wing and just grinding with them, showing them the ropes, showing them how to be a professional, showing them how to, really work their body and become physically, gifted, during the offseason to prepare them for a long, strenuous season. So he's done the groundwork to be the best receiver in the game. And some do consider him a top 5 receiver, but top 5 is not good enough for AJ Brown. He wants that #1 spot. DeVonta Smith, why does DeVonta deserve it? For one, DeVonta keeps his mouth shut about everything. We never hear DeVonta Smith's mouth. You know what I'm saying? He's never in the media, crying about how many targets he got. He just, keeps his cool, goes out there and gets what, comes to him. He deserves opportunities as a lead receiver. You know what I'm saying? And this guy deserves it. He makes big play after big play after big play for this football team in crucial situations. He's out there putting his body on the line. He's only a $105 soaking wet, out there going over the middle, catching balls, getting smacked, holding on to the football. You know what I'm saying? DeVonta Smith is that dog on this team. He won a Heisman Trophy winner, one of the only receivers playing right now to say they won a Heisman Trophy winner, Heisman Trophy. He had over 2,000 yards that season. We drafted this guy to be our #1 receiver. The Philadelphia Eagles drafted DeVonta Smith to be the #1 receiver on this football team. So when are we going to give him that opportunity? Everybody looks back to his rookie year and say, oh, he had 900 yards. That's not #1 type numbers. But if you look at the talent on that football team surrounding him at that time, that was a great season, for a quarterback on the Philadelphia Eagles. For a receiver on the Philadelphia Eagles. It wasn't a superstar. He was young. He was fresh. But you got to think, that was 5 years ago. We've seen DeVonta Smith grow. to become one of the best receivers in the game. There's very few that run routes, as precise as this guy. You know what I'm saying? He improves each year as a, receiver in this NFL, where everybody's already calling him a 1A, 1B type receiver, saying he's the best number 2 in the game. DeVonta Smith is that dude, and he deserves a shot. Just like we say with AJ Brown. If AJ didn't have DeVonta, then maybe AJ would have more yards. Well, the same could be said about DeVonta Smith. If DeVonta Smith didn't have AJ on the team, DeVonta Smith numbers would be a lot better than what we see today. You know what I'm saying? You can't argue that. Don't call him a number 1, but when you say, you get to the situation where we got to trade AJ and like, oh, what are we going to do? We don't have a number 1 receiver no more. You can't say that. You know what I'm saying? You can't be like, oh, now that it could be possibly time for DeVonta to be that number 1 guy. Oh, he might not be good enough to lead this football team moving forward. With all the work he done put in, he stays healthy. He gives you no drama. He's out there balling each and every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? I think he even had a better year than AJ last year, from my standpoint of it. So you want guys to play, 110%. That's DeVonta. He doesn't give up. He doesn't pick and choose when he wants to play on the football field. And those are things that this team needs: consistency from their leaders. You know what I'm saying? Consistency from the star players on the football team. He says, I'm now convinced this city can handle a functioning team. They'll ruin it. It's not about ruining it. When you guys, what I'm saying, what's your name again? Future generations, when you guys think about it and you guys say stuff like, us as Eagles fan can't handle what's going on in the team. It's not, this situation has nothing to do with, us. It has to do with AJ Brown. AJ Brown he has desires to be much more than what he is right now. And he is already a great receiver. So what are we to do as fans but to talk about it? We don't want him. We don't want the production of AJ Brown. But if you looked at last season, where was that production? There were numerous games where he was half-assing it, not playing to his full ability, not blocking for players, not helping players up, not speaking to the media. He didn't want to take accountability. He was losing his shit, and he needed to come back. You know what I'm saying? Everybody say it's cool if AJ comes back if he comes back with the right mindset. But I'm telling you this, guys, with the new offense that we're bringing in here, had to get my coffee. With the new offense that we're bringing in here, motions, all kind of new route development, route trees and whatnot, precise route running. And I'm not saying that we couldn't use a guy like, AJ Brown because he's one of the best, but I'm saying it might be more tailored for a guy like DeVonta Smith. You know what I'm saying? And if he wants to go to a team to where he can be, you heard LB talk about it. He said his inside source told him that AJ was at a Super Bowl party, Super Bowl week, and he told people straight up he wanted to be traded. But it's not for reasons the media is trying to bring it down. You know what I'm saying? It's not for those reasons. It's more for the reasons, like I said, that he wants to be the best. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see the last 2 years with AJ and Smitty on his football team, what it looked like. Here we go from PFF. Here we go. Last 2 season breakdown. You got AJ Brown. He had over 285 plus targets in the last 2 years in the Nick Sirianni offense. DeVonta Smith, 245 plus targets. Receptions, 190 receptions, plus for AJ Brown. DeVonta Smith, 170. Receiving yards, 2,700 plus receiving yards. DeVonta Smith, 2,100 plus receiving yards. AJ had 18 touchdowns. DeVonta had 14 touchdowns. Routes run yards 2.7 to DeVonta's 2.3. Contested catch, top tier for AJ, top tier for DeVonta, elite tier for DeVonta. You know what I'm saying? Separation rate is elite. So DeVonta's separations is elite. AJ's contested catch is elite. PFF graded him 91 plus overall versus 88 for DeVonta Smith. You know, with AJ Brown targets, reception yards, and yards per route run, you know, AJ leads all three of those. The reason why it makes him a power receiver versus the precise receiver of a DeVonta Smith. So those yards over the last couple of years, man, they're pretty close. You know what I'm saying? To be like, well, AJ is this much better. It's like you can totally see right there. They're pretty damn close of how close these guys are in terms of, you know, AJ gets more targets, so his numbers are a little bit better. You know, that's just how you got to look at that. So he says, Eagles fans said, we need to keep AJ Brown. If we trade AJ, our Super Bowl window is closed. I don't really agree with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't agree that if we trade AJ Brown, the Super Bowl window is closed. There's still a lot of talent left on this football team. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not just saying, you know, get rid of AJ, you know, have nothing. You have the same receivers that we have right now. Obviously, if you went out and got rid of AJ, you're going to have to go out there and pick up, you know, another number two. You know, whether we, you know, we're going to get over some options there, but you got to get a number two, you know, to keep, you know, some attention away, pull attention away from DeVonta Smith in games. So, you know, I don't think that the window will be closed. We still have Saquon Barkley, which is going to be still a run first base offense, you know, and that would be the reason why AJ doesn't fit in this offense. Well, he fits, obviously. We can use him. He can be productive. But for his standards and what he wants to do in his career, doesn't fit. You know, let me clear that up for you guys. For his standards, doesn't fit. So we're gonna see, man. AJ really, you know, is talking like he wants out of here. And you know, what are we gonna do? Just have a disgruntled football player, or we're gonna give him what he wants? You know, if the right price comes up. Because if you look at it now, the asking price for AJ Brown right now, the Eagles are asking for a first-round pick and a top 100 pick. So a number one and a top 100, which is good for AJ Brown. You know what I'm saying? He is one of the best receivers in the game. I would personally prefer, you know, a number one and a player that can help this team, or an elite player and an, you know, number two, you know, something like that, than to, you know, have two draft picks, even though how we know what he does with the draft capital. So let's see what we're talking about here. Let's see what we got. Here we go. He said, but why do this? You're intentionally trying to create internal conflict. They're both aware of their strengths and weaknesses. You're trying to put this in their heads to start conflicts. I'm not trying to put nothing in their heads to start conflicts. AJ started this. Don't blame me. I am reporting what AJ said. You know, AJ wants to lead the Philadelphia. AJ wants to be a Triple Crown leader. AJ wants to lead the league in receptions, touchdowns, you know what I'm saying, yards. That's not me putting nothing in the air. That is all facts from AJ Brown. You know, like I said before, I have nothing against him. If he wants to play ball, be a team player, and come out here and bust his ass and not cry and whine about receptions and whatnot, and, you know, understand that this engine is going to be ran by a lot of different people, and leading with Saquon Barkley, you know, like he was when he had Derrick Henry in front of him in Tennessee, which was another reason why he left Tennessee in the first place. People don't realize that AJ left Tennessee because he wasn't getting enough love there. And he was still good in Tennessee. It's just Derrick Henry had like 400, no, 300 yard carries a game. I mean, a year, to the point where it's like his targets were down, and he was mad about that. So that's not me trying to stir up anything. He said, "No good, buddy. Encourage both of your brothers." I encourage both of them. I want them both on this football team. Don't get me twisted at all. Like if AJ came with the right mindset, I definitely want AJ Brown on this football team. And I think it'll be that much more easier to win a Super Bowl with AJ Brown on this football team. Get that clear right now. Like I'm not saying that that's not the case. So, and then let's look at what they drew up. I asked chat to help me out and see what would look like if they were number one receivers on another football team. So this is what they came up with. Is this not on the same team? AJ Brown as number one, DeVonta as number one. Check your stats on a new team. If they were to go somewhere else, either one traded. It said projected targets for AJ Brown will be 170 to 190 targets as a number one. Those look like targets that he'll probably want to have in his career. He's looking to get numbers like that. It says if DeVonta Smith on another team will be projected between 140 and 160. Catches 110 to 125. DeVonta 100 to 115, about the same. Yards 1,500 plus for AJ, 1,300 plus for DeVonta. Touchdowns 10 to 12 for AJ, 8 to 10 for DeVonta. Projected stacks. Top target shares, artillery routes. On a new team, you have target shares, precise route running. So it shows you here that both of these guys would be number one receivers if the other one was not on there. If they were on a different football team with their skill set. Now, we're going to see if we were to keep them, right? And run a force feed style offense that AJ wants. Say the Eagles were to bow down and say, fuck it. We're going to go ahead and give AJ what he wants. We're going to go ahead and give AJ and feed AJ every single game. That's what he wants. He wants to be the number one. We owe him that. We won a Super Bowl with AJ Brown. It would unleash AJ dominance. You know what I'm saying? He would be with motioning and, all these new route concepts. He would destroy teams, being the primary getter. A red zone emphasis would be, magnified with AJ Brown with his physicality and his contested catch ratio, on this football team. He have a massive target share where he probably have like the Puka Nakua's up there. But Puka had Devontae Adams on the other side. But Puka got some games, he got like up to 20, targets in the game. That was ridiculous. AJ gets something like that. AJ would definitely get everything he ever wanted in life. But will that lead to us winning would be the question. We've seen this year when we force-fed AJ, he had his numbers, but we were losing football games. We weren't balanced. So I don't know how that would work out. As opposed to if AJ came with his mind right and wanted to work the system, it would exploit defensive schemes. You wouldn't know who to, double team. You wouldn't know who to guard. You wouldn't know where they're coming from. You wouldn't know any of this stuff. They would be dissecting defenses on a week-to-week basis. You know what I'm saying? Like the different route combinations, the different players that would get involved in this offense. We need Saquon involved. We need whatever our star tight end and that plays this year to be involved. We need, DeVonta Smith involved. If we re-sign Dotson to get another receiver, because I hear they're talking about Romeo Dobbs type thing, we need to make sure that they're involved. Little Cooper on our receiving court, get him involved. The more weapons you have involved on your football team, the more dangerous your football team is. We will have a higher separation rate, if both of these guys stayed on this football team. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, AJ's too physical and DeVonta runs too smooth of routes to stop both of these guys in a complex but, basic for the quarterback scheme, where Jalen Hurts is hitting that back foot, getting the ball out, type offense. Remember Tampa Bay a couple of years ago, when we hated playing Tampa Bay because, Baker Mayfield would just get that ball out, get that ball out, get that ball out, boom, 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 hitting them, hitting them, hitting them. We were like, damn, man, we got a great pass rush. That was the year we had 70 sacks, but we couldn't get to Baker Mayfield because the ball was coming out too fast, and these guys was carving us up. Same type of situation here. But then you got elite running back like Saquon Barkley coming out of the backfield, who I know will still have a bounce back year. Like everybody think he had a bad season, but he really didn't. He had a great season. Like he was the sixth leading rusher in the NFL. It was like, hello, he didn't drop off that much. So that attack would get better with a healthier offensive line, of course, because that was the main problem of this offense last year. It wasn't 100% the coaching. It wasn't 100% Jalen Hurts. It wasn't 100%, the receivers. It was that offensive line being banged up all year long. It's the reason why our offense looked like trash last year. Okay? That is the reason. And with the balanced target shares, both players will get accolades. Both players will be good, but you got to realize as much as AJ wants to be the number one receiver, wants to be that top dog. You got to think DeVonta Smith been playing for 5 years too. He probably wants to be want to be a Pro Bowler. AJ's been a Pro Bowl, All Pro, all stuff, and he has not done nothing. He has not done nothing, man. He hasn't been no Pro Bowl, no All Pros, no nothing. It's been horrible for this guy that worked so hard to be the best. Good morning, Nina. How you doing? He can look at you live early in the morning. Yeah, man. Good stuff. AJ Stan, go Birds. Yeah, Nina, thank you. Good morning to you. You know what I'm saying? We're going to start this new thing out. I'm trying to find more time to get out here and talk to you guys. I want to do more one-on-one live streams with you guys so we can talk about our feelings together. And, we can bring different concepts to it. It's cool when I'm on here with other people. We can going back and forth. But sometime I think I need to come on here. This is the BirdGang 31 channel. I decided to bring Wake Up with BirdGang back, and Morning Talk with Bird BG. So y'all be on the lookout for this. I want to try to do it 2-3 times a week. Miss BirdGang, good morning, everyone. It's time for DeVonta to shine. DeVonta Smith, you want DeVonta Smith to shine? No, I can't be mad at her. That's something good, man. That's something good. You go, what up, Billy? How you doing today, my guy? How you doing today? But let's get back into this, guys. Let's get back into this. Okay, so that's if you force feed AJ, right? So now let's go to if both players were on the Eagles without each other. You know what I'm saying? The other one was that they both were on new teams without each other. This is if both players were on the Eagles without each other. 170 to 190 versus DeVonta 170. 115 to 130 catches, 120 catches tops for DeVonta. They say that A.J. Brown would get 1,600 plus yards on this football team without DeVonta Smith. DeVonta Smith would get 1,400 plus yards. A.J. up to 14 touchdowns. DeVonta 11 up to 11 touchdowns. He'll be a powerhouse playmaker in this offense. A.J. Brown with isolation weapons, Yak Beast, touchdown machine, Ted Yields. So they're saying like he would just be a dominant force out here. DeVonta, precise route runner, chain mover, Thormo's beast, receiver technician. You know what I'm saying? He would be carving them up. It look more like the JN, what the boy name from JCU or whatever, JMC or whatever the boy name is over there in Seattle. Damn it. You know what I'm saying? JSU, whatever his name is. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Jackson Smith and Jigma. Over there in Seattle. So that would be what their projected ceilings would be, each as number one receivers in the offense as it currently stands. Now we're going to look at now that this offense has changed, this would be projected stats for each of these guys as number ones in this new Minion, McVay, LaFleur, Shanahan style offense. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the real nitty gritty. This is what we really need to know about both of these receivers. You know what I'm saying? This is the main thing. It says projected in the scheme at which the Eagles would be running. Look how things change up from what it's saying here. It says AJ Brown in this scheme that's we're about to bring to this offense. His projection receptions will be 120 to 130 receptions. DeVonta Smith's projection would be 130 to 140 receptions. You know what I'm saying? Like they're saying that DeVonta Smith in the offense that we are currently about to run would have more receptions as a number one than AJ Brown. Let that sink in for a second. Let's go to yards. 1,500 plus for AJ Brown, but 1,400 plus for DeVonta Smith, meaning they think that AJ would have less receptions, but a few more yards because of his big playability with the physicality that he plays with. Okay, I like that. Now we're moving. Touchdowns. It's saying AJ would have 8 to 11, but DeVonta would have 8 to 10. Basically, they would have the exact same touchdowns in the new scheme that we are projected to run if the other was not on the team. That's crazy, man. The West Coast style chain, versus the chain mover. You know what I'm saying? West Coast asset versus chain mover. So basically, both of these guys will produce in the new system. But it's saying that there's a possibility that DeVonta Smith could be the main producer in this new offense, the way the schemes move with all, either chilling. That's what's up, buddy. With all the, motioning and stacking player bunch concepts, you know what I'm saying? Moving your star players all over the football field so you can maximize the opportunities to get the ball and, open field and open spaces. So I would, you know what I'm saying? That I think, like I said, and he deserves it, man. He deserves it. I feel like, that's the only thing that, I really want people to understand. Like DeVonta Smith deserves his chance. And I feel like AJ might even be pushing the narrative even more. Listen to this. AJ might be pushing the narrative even more because he understands the exact same thing. That maybe it's not just him wanting to reach his stat pinnacle in a season and be that top dog, but he also knows that he is holding DeVonta Smith back, who deserves to be the top dog, on a football team as well. You know what I'm saying? So it might not be coming from anything selfish at all from AJ. It could just be all because he knows he's a dog. He knows DeVonta's a dog. And he knows with two dogs on this football team, only one can be the lead guy. And only one can have those elite numbers. You know what I'm saying? Because you think about these guys. Like I said, Puka, Adams. Puka has way elite numbers. Adams like more in the back end of his career. You know what I'm saying? So he's chilling. Over there in Tampa Bay, it was Mike Evans and Godwin. One of them would usually have the big year. The other one would be chilling or, hurt or something. You got T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase always has the monster year. T. Higgins have good years, and years that Joe Burrow throws like closer to 5,000 yards when he's available. Then T. Higgins have a better season. But at the end of the day, there's Jamar Chase those seasons have close to 2,000 yards. So unless it's something, dramatic where your quarterback's just like balling out of control type season, you're throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game. That's the only way you get to those elite numbers with two receivers. And we do not have a quarterback for that. Not saying Jalen Hurts can't, but that is not the way he works. A smart coordinator knows you have to run the ball with Jalen and you got to pass the ball with Jalen. You got to do both. He's the best dual threat quarterback in the league. I'm going to repeat, the best dual threat quarterback in the league. I'm not saying he's the best passer. I'm not saying he's the best, touchdown getter, but he's the best dual threat quarterback. So, yeah, man, like I said, like if AJ Brown wants to go, I think if we can get, that's why I love how he went out there. He's like, okay, if you really want to get him, show me you want to get him. Show me you want to get him. What you gonna give me? Because I want a day one, and I also want a top 100. So that's where we start at. If you ain't coming with that, don't ring my phone. Don't bother me. I'm busy. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll keep him on a football team. I really don't care. He's under contract. Y'all do what y'all want to do. I'm cool. And that's going to force these teams. You see the New England Patriots went out there and released Stephon Diggs, even though he does got some off the field drama, but he was their number one receiver because the Patriots wants AJ Brown ASAP, and AJ wants the Patriots. So I bet they're both sitting here. You heard the agents talking to see what kind of deals that we can get together, and the Patriots like, Jesus Christ, a first round pick and a top 100 pick. That's a lot, AJ. And AJ, like, I'm going to come here and I'm going to produce at a high level. If AJ Brown went to the New England Patriots with Drake May, he would have those numbers his first year, just like he did when he came to Philly. He'll be motivated. He'll be happy. He'll be unstoppable. And guess what? He will get the targets. He will be the best receiver in the game. I'm not guaranteed they win a Super Bowl, but I will say he will be dominating. Might be Eagles-Patriots Super Bowl again with AJ on the other side. You're looking at him like, what up? Like that type of situation. But there was one trade I want to talk about here that I thought was really interesting here. Now, this is a trade that I might do if I was the Eagles. It says the Eagles get Christian Gonzalez, the Patriots 2026 first round draft pick and second round draft pick. Now, if I'm Howie Roseman right now, and the Patriots were to offer me this for AJ Brown, Nation, I'm taking it. Yep, I'm doing it. I'm taking that trade 10 out of 10 times. You get a star cornerback to pair up with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and lock down your cornerbacks for the next couple of years easily. You know what I'm saying? No team would be able to pass on us like that. Gonzalez is a dog. Plus, then you go into this year's draft with 2 number 1s. Woo! And 2 number 2s. Hey, sign me up ASAP. And I mean ASAP. Get me on the phone with Howie, and I'll be telling Howie, you go make this trade right now. That would lock up a secondary with a nice secondary for years to come. That would be also being able to use draft capital to make trades and make improvements on this football team, my guy. That would be a dream come true scenario for BirdGang 31. That's the one trade I say I would definitely jump on. There's a couple other trades out there floating around I'm not really down with. I don't want Coleman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not down with that. I would trade straight across Crosby for AJ. Maybe we have to give a little, maybe a 3rd round pick or something like that, 4th round pick with AJ for Crosby. Do that. But there's not too many other trades, like that. That would lock up our. Could you imagine? You would need like 5 good receivers on your football team to have any sort of a passing game. Gonzalez on one side, Key on the other, Coop in the middle, Dobb. It takes a lot less pressure on our safety situation. That'd be for damn sure. He says, I don't think someone is giving up a 1st round pick for a 30-year-old receiver that you have to pay top dollar, but good luck. Yeah, I can see that now, but AJ Brown, not just any 31. He's a freak of nature. He's one of the best receivers in the game, and he can instantly, dramatically improve your football team from day one. Especially looking at a team that just went to the Super Bowl. They just was at the bowl. Their confidence is sky high right now. They're like, we are just this close. We are this close from winning the Super Bowl. We just need one more piece. They got some nice running backs over there. You know what I'm saying? They got some nice tight ends over there. They need a top dog at receiver. Stephen Diggs is no A.J. Brown. He's good. He's no A.J. Brown. And hell, if we let him go and Stephen clears his little case where he's not going to jail, hell, bring Diggs over here and pair him up with DeVonta. I wouldn't care. Why not? Pair them up. Let them do their thing. So I don't think that'd be a problem. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. He says, I'm a big Eagles fan, Little Griff 7126. I know you are, my guy. You're one of my biggest supporters. Salute to you, my guy. Make sure y'all hit that like, hit that subscribe, guys. You know what I'm saying? Let's boost this. Share this, boost this. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what we can get this video to. He said, will you trade AJ the third rounder for Patrick Surtain? And a third rounder, yeah. Fuck it, yeah. But then that will put pressure on us a little later because you already got to sign Q and Coop. Patrick Surtain is like another dog, one of the best in the NFL. So we have to pay him all three of them big money. I don't think that will work out. We will end up losing one or the other eventually anyway. But it would work out for us this year, just like I said, Gonzalez. But Gonzalez would be a lot cheaper than the Patrick Surtain for sure. But I would do it. I would do it. I wouldn't mind it at all. Let's look at I made a top 10 replacements for AJ. Let's look at this. Okay, it's going to be including draft players, free agents, current player on the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're looking at here. We got Cornell Tate, Ohio State receiver, first round, elite body control and route precision, reliable number 1 traits. So you pair him up with a DeVonta Smith. You got 2 young, route running specialists out there balling, what I'm saying, in this West Coast style offense. I think that would be a good, pick up for the Eagles. He says Denzel Boston, receiver in the first round, a 6'4" physical contested catch receiver. You're kind of replacing the AJ physicality, closest body type to AJ Brown. That's why he'll be a good scheme fit if you want to keep a physical guy but go cheaper and younger. That'll be a nice pickup. Casey Conception, Texas A&M receiver, versatile weapon used all over the field. Perfect Shanahan style motion player. So you got a guy that's came from a Shanahan style offense already. That probably wouldn't take so long for him to adapt to the NFL. We got Branch from the Georgia Bulldogs. Go out there and grab another Bulldog, bring him to the team. One of the most explosive athletes in college football. Designed for touches, jet motions, and yak production. He's a burner. You know what I'm saying? That's another great concept for this offense to get one of those burners out there to help stretch the field. That'd be another good one. We got Jordan Tyson, the Arizona State receiver. You can get him in either round 1 or 2. He's an explosive playmaker with elite acceleration. The scheme fit is motion and play action vertical routes. You know what I'm saying? So he'll be good with the motion and play action vertical routes with the new concept coming in. Brazil the second, a big body outside receiver. He'll be great for the red zone and vertical threat for this football team. He's from the receiver for Tennessee last year. My number 1 guy that I think would be a reason why you could, get actually this guy and the next guy and be fine. It's drafting Oregon's tight end, hybrid tight end receiving weapon. He ran a Shanahan style offense, heavily on receiving tight ends, in Oregon. And that's the D. Kenyon Sadiq. We seen what he did at the combine. The boy was lightning fast. Ran, looked great. Big physical boy. What he ran, like a 4.3 or something like that, or 4.4 or something like that. Really fast tight end. I think you bring him in, start him day one with a DeVonta Smith that is going to replace. Because you got to realize we had too many. It could be that we had too many. You think about some of those championship teams back in the day. It was, the Niners when they had that Clark, Rice, and Craig. The Cowboys when they had Emmitt Smith, Novacek, Irving. It was just one star player at each spot. So you have Smitty, Sadid, Barkley, and those be your main three weapons because you can manufacture enough touches for all three of them to eat up a game. And then you look at your little role players from game to game you throw in there. So Sadid would be an awesome. They say round 2, but obviously everybody knows Sadid's going in round 1. But he might fall to us in our spot if we make that trade. We can have 2 number 1s and pick them up if we need to move up. And I think another guy that deserves it is Jahan Dotson, dude. We had Jahan Dotson on this football team for like 10 catches a year for the last 2 years. It's like, what the hell are we really doing with him? A former first-round talent, elite route running, receiver, and ideal Z and emotion style offense. Go ahead and give Jahan a bat. You won't even have to give him that big of a bat because guess what? You made sure his numbers come contract time was not going to be good enough to demand big money on this football team. So you re-sign him, you get rid of him, you re-sign him, and you make Jahan Dotson your number 2. You can still go draft a Sadid, and then you make Cooper your number 3 receiver. And roll like that. And I think with Jahan number 2, Cooper number 3, and a tight end like Sadid, or go get a Cal Pitts or Njoku, or either one of these tight ends out there that they link into the Eagles, you'll be all right with DeVonta leading the way. You'll be all right. And then there's Mike Evans, a veteran, play action, deep ball, red zone dominance, big physical receiver. Everybody knew what Mike Evans done for his career. I heard they talking about getting rid of him. That'd be another great replacement. But those are my top 10 replacements if we were to get rid of A.J. Brown. So, it's coming down to, free agency starts in a week. The Eagles are going to start making some big decisions here. He said, who is your top 5 receiver in the division right now in order? Top 5 receivers in our division right now. Is Pickens still in it or not? Because if I go top 5, I would say number 1, A.J. Brown. Number 2, CeeDee Lamb. Number 3, Scary Terry. Number 4, Pickens, if he's still in the division. And number 5 will be Neighbors. I know he was hurt all last year, so you really can't say. But that would be my top 5 if I had to go top 5 receivers in the division right now. So it would be AJ, Lamb, Terry, Pickens, Neighbors. That's the 5 I got for you. He says, you won't replace AJ just like we've never been able to replace Malcolm Jenkins. We still don't have a safety. Reed's been playing good. We won a Super Bowl with Reed, Makuba, I think Makuba's going to be great next year. So don't discredit him if he can come back healthy and stay healthy. I think Makuba would be great out there. Like I said, there's some safeties in this draft. There's some free agent safeties that are out there. The Eagles can really fix that position. Like I feel like CJ when he was here, he was great with us. We went to 2 Super Bowls with him. So we'd be fine to play. That's another person I wouldn't mind bringing back. Bring CJ back. Let him pair up with Makuba. You won't have to pay him that much. He went out, made his money. He want to come back. Pair him up with Makuba and let those boys go out to be ball hogs. Especially if we get another cornerback, man. These guys will be able to play free out there. ball hawking everything, out there picking everything, taking it to the house. We'll probably lead the league in interceptions. You go get a CJGJ and a healthy Makuba and a number 2 cornerback out there. So we shall see what they do, man. But I just wanted to get up there. That is the first real. He said Smitty is better than CD and Scary Terry. Come on, BirdGang. Damn, I didn't think about Smitty. You're right. Damn, I did say that without Smitty. I don't know why I was looking like mostly at. I agree with that. So let me redo that. When I was saying that list, I was saying that the other teams trying to line up their leading receiver. I don't know why I only thought about AJ Brown. You're right on that. That was my bad. My fuck up. So let me redo this. AJ Brown, Smitty, AJ Brown, CD. Still, just because we haven't seen Smitty do it, I know he's better than Lamb. So I'm gonna go AJ Brown, Lamb, Smitty. That's gonna make me change everything. Hold on, let me change that. AJ Brown, Lamb, Smitty. Pickens. I want to say Terry, but he's getting old too. Let's put the young buck Neighbors. Let's let Neighbors sit right there. I'm gonna change that. That's my 5. Neighbors. AJ Brown, Lamb, Smitty, Pickens, and Neighbors. You're right. That was me slipping. My bad. That was me slipping. But salute to you guys. Like I said, I'm gonna start looking to see what other topics I want to really hit on. This was a big one that's out there right now. To kind of put a cap on this, and come to the conclusion of what we're gonna, what we think about the situation is, like I said before, I believe AJ Brown does not really want to leave Philadelphia. I believe the Philadelphia Eagles really don't want to get rid of AJ Brown. I believe that AJ Brown, if stays, wants to be the primary receiver and have a higher target share this year. I believe DeVonta Smith deserves a higher target share than what he's been getting. I believe the offense is going to be heading in a new direction this year. That's going to be a more spread, run-based first offense, to the point where we're going to see a lot more players get touches, manufactured touches this year. I do believe with manufactured touches that we can get AJ more touches that can have a greater production, kind of like the 22 season, while also having DeVonta Smith continue to grow and try to, hit his ceiling, where maybe DeVonta leads the team in receptions, AJ leads in yards, and they both kind of meet in the middle there with touchdowns. I think if AJ Brown really did say that he wanted to leave, I believe the Philadelphia Eagles should trade him. I do not want to see another season where we're talking about this guy consistently every single week for not being happy that he's not getting the football. But all that being said, either thing can happen. I am 150% confident, though, that if AJ Brown does leave, DeVonta Smith will become one of the best receivers in football like he did college football. It'd be the same trajectory. Remember when DeVonta first started in Alabama? He was behind Mechie. He was behind Judy, Ridley. You know what I'm saying? He had some dogs in front of him. He stayed in there. He could have went to another school. He stayed in Alabama, waited his turn, and showed the fuck out. I believe the trajectory on his career can be the exact same if AJ Brown leads the football team. I think that everybody would doubt him, and I think he would shut him up by week 10. I think we'd be sitting here like DeVonta Smith is leading the league in receptions, touchdowns, and yards by week 10. Because it's about keeping your emotions intact, guys. Mental health is serious. But the more your brain's scattered, the less you can perform on that football team. And DeVonta seemed to have all his shit together in terms of like that whole calm demeanor. And I think that he would definitely produce at a very high rate, this year on the football team. And he will be rewarded from the football gods for keeping it professional, for being patient for his opportunity. And he'll become one of the best. He'll be the next JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigma. But to be honest with you, talent-wise, I think DeVonta's better than him too. He just has the opportunity that DeVonta's never got. So both of these guys could be number ones. Both of these guys could put up elite numbers if they were by themselves. Staying on the Eagles, they would not either get that. So it's about what do you want? Do you want to be the best receiver in the game, or do you want to win more championships? What's your end game? Do you want to be a receiver with 5 rings, or you want to be the receiver with 1 ring and the most receptions, the most yards in NFL history? Super Bowls, hey, there's some receivers out there that got some Super Bowls that people don't talk about. But people all talk about Jerry Rice's, Randy Moss's for eternity. Calvin Johnson's for eternity. So it all matters what's your end game, what the Eagles want to do. He says, go back to receiver hell. I don't think it'll be a receiver hell, man. I don't think it would be. He says, so many guys scare me. AJ's ability out there. So many gets folded like school clothes. He never had all the attention by DBs. He got hit and went into concussion protocol. Come on now. AJ gets hurt all the time. Smitty has went against a lot of the top DBs. He torched them in college. I know that was college, but you got to realize he doesn't really go against them that much when they're going against AJ Brown. And I still believe that he's a way better route runner than AJ Brown. AJ will tell you that Smitty's a better route runner. And I think in the style offense, that is more, essential, a better route runner. I think he would toast the hell out of Patrick Surtain, Derek Stingley, any of your top cornerbacks out there in the football league. Yes, I do think DeVonta was smoked the ass. Straight up. He was smoking 101 in a good scheme, good routes, where it has to do with his precision route running. DeVonta's always open when he catches the ball for the most part. Unless it's a tight window throw, he's always open, like way open. When they see him break, it's a wrap from there on. He's not considered one of the best route runners in the league for no reason. So I don't agree with that. I don't think we go backwards. I still think we go forward. Is there a losing Landon is going to hurt? Eagles need to draft his replacement through the draft. Landon's not going. He's coming back. He's coming back this year. So you guys hit that like, hit that follow, subscribe from wherever you're at. Hit that post notification bell, and be on the lookout for more of these live streams. That morning Eagles talk with BG will continue. I'll be thinking of new topics. We got a lot more content coming, guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, share. And like I always say at the end of my videos, fly, Eagles, fly, and go fucking birds. Have a great day. Peace.
How about our quarterback? How about our quarterback? I'm your quarterback. He's a stud.